Abusia eye OSP, yes. Eye Kissi Agyabeng abusia man boni echemu echese papa yi. Ede enkomo bi aba, yes. Papa yi ede enkomo bi aba na de enkomo na papa yi ede aba. Na obi be bisa se papa yi. Just say obe resign ana on resign. Abusia ye betini na wo eye nsem agwakotie mu no. Aha, eda so aye be media je chebe se wa se. Obe subscribe ede ama ebo notification bell no so for more political updates. Yentie enkomo a je say aba abonte ye bra sesi. Aha. That's why a bear media judge.
OSP Kissi Agyabeng, his days are numbered. Ebusuya enye asam keto akra ono ankasa aba abonten edi nsem bi aba betudwa wa hia CSUs o chere se President Mahama obesre eye CSUs no omonne President Mahama na se government no endi enkomo cause eye OSP office no eye politicians no omo intimidate office no and omo pese omo get rid of the office into no osre CSUs no omo ene government no ending komo na omo retain that office no bet enyo ono ankasa di nkomo chese ode time obefree that office so ede atudwa eye special prosecutor Kissi Agyabeng ono ankasa hu se CC no office no yes ono ankasa packing ne o mana or the free office so abusuya yense momre no mom yenko na yenkonkotie ensem bia so lawyer Martin Pebun so ede honsem eba betudwa abusuya enye asem keto akra mom yenko na yenkonkotie unsubscribe
is urged civil society organizations to help fight to retain the office of the special prosecutor and prevent it from operating according to the whims of the political class. Now, speaking at a national dialogue on the office of the special prosecutor, Kissi Agyabeng noted that despite failed efforts to have the office scrapped in Parliament following the intervention of the president, it still has some threats to its existence, and he wants the civil society organizations to help to ensure that that doesn't happen. Take a look.
The attempt to scrap the office of the special prosecutor last year is not dead. And this is the charge I'm giving to civil society. It is not dead. It is live. But we should not depend on the goodness of the president to say, withdraw it from Parliament. Rather, we should build this institution for the ages. An institution which stands the test of time. I was approached in respect of how to reform, and a lot of the talk I heard was revolving around me. And I told these well-meaning people that do not make proposals because of my nature. Some may see me as good, some may see me as evil. But do not turn legal provisions around my traits and characteristics. In the same way, I'm saying, do not let this office's existence depend on the fact that the president wants it to operate, as we saw in December 2025. Secure it, bound it up, board it up well, and now we have a glorious opportunity with the constitution review process. Let it be stamped in it, and we are gratified that the committee, the Constitution Review Committee, put such a proposal in it. Let it be well founded in it. Let it be well clad, so that the next special prosecutor will not spend so much of his time fighting for survival of the office, fighting for survival of his position.
That's the special prosecutor Kissi Agyabeng there. Now, if you recall, just a little over a month ago, this decision was communicated by the Chief Justice when 3 petitions for the removal of the special prosecutor was referred to him. If you recall, earlier in the year, sometime in January, the Minister in charge of Government Communications, Felix Kwetkofosu, did indicate that there were 10 petitions that the presidency had received. 7 of them were for the removal of the Electoral Commission chair and her 2 deputies, and then 3 of them were for the removal of Kissi Agyabeng as special prosecutor. Well, we got a verdict a little over a month ago regarding those petitions and the position of the Chief Justice going through the process as enshrined in Article 146. But take a look at this. We've got a portion of the position of the Chief Justice on the petitions against at least the chairperson and the 2 deputies of the Electoral Commission. And he said that while the allegations raise serious constitutional and administrative questions, they do not, on their face, meet the threshold required for a prima facie determination. This was in fact, extracted from a letter that was leaked containing the position of the Chief Justice on the petitions for the removal of the EC chair and the stated misbehavior or incompetence, warranting the committee to be set up to inquire into the petition. For that of the special prosecutor, the grounds on which those first 3 petitions were dismissed by the Chief Justice, at least, have not been made public as yet, so we do not know. But one person who also has petitioned for the removal of the special prosecutor is Martin Pebu, is private legal practitioner, a member of the oral preparatory team. Is joining us on Zoom right now. Counsel, good evening. Thank you for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. First of all, the special prosecutor appears to be aware of the fact that the challenge for him not to be in that office still persists, that there are active petitions against him, because it talks about the threats against the existence of the office. You have maintained that your petition is not part of the 3 that were earlier dismissed by the Chief Justice, correct?
Absolutely, yes. Absolutely. My petition is not part of those that were thrown out. My petition was presented long after even when I say long, I mean relatively, at least. Yes, long after the other petitions. Yes, my petition was presented to the presidency on the 11th of December. And then by law, the president had 7 days to forward it to the Chief Justice. So the Chief Justice should have received it on the 18th of December. And the Chief Justice has 30 days to also deal with it. So if we are counting by law, now we are upwards of 100 days. Well, but we appreciate the time constraints. So we'll see. I'm sure the Chief Justice should be on it now.
But he is well aware of the active petitions against him, at least based on what we heard him say today, and the fact that he is calling on CSOs to help to retain the office, not him, but the office of the special prosecutor. And also the fact that he is actually counting his days in office. That's what he said, Counsel.
Yeah, it should be not just the one that will end 7 years for him, but one that he must leave immediately. You see, Mr. Counsel, we must make the point forcefully that Kissi Agyabeng for allowing Furiata to escape from Ghana without Kissi Agyabeng being able to shout, Giloe, Evio. And look, when we say that, what we mean is that we are not convicting anybody, but by law, what happens is that when you go to Makola, if anything is wrong, the people start shouting that, hey, arrest this person, before they go into the merits. Kissi Agyabeng couldn't blow the whistle. Now Furiata is running away. But now that it's clear that the conflict has caught him, he's not the one to do that fight about the independence of the office of the special prosecutor. That fight is bigger than Kissi Agyabeng. He's shown that he doesn't have the accoutrements to do that fight. And it starts with his personal conflicts, that integrity. Kissi Agyabeng with the conflicts that he has, and for allowing Furiata to escape, he lacks the integrity. He lacks everything else that it takes to run that office. He should just step down quickly so that we'll find new leadership and then we'll take it from there. He should leave the independence matter to Ghanaians. We'll deal with that. He has blown his chance. He's blown his opportunity. He should just step away. We will find other candidates.
Well, but on the matter of the independence of that particular office, he's not the only one who's held this view. In fact, the CDD, Dr. Kojo Asante, also espoused the same position about the protection of the office and its independence, and urging that the president should ensure the implementation of the recommendations in this Constitutional Review Committee's report. That's Professor H. Pempe's team. Take a listen to him, and I'll ask you a question based on that as well and what the OSP said earlier. But take a look.
Process committee that we should create an anti-corruption, or basically the current established OSP, together with the Directorate of the Anti-Corruption, emerged into an Anti-Corruption Commission, an ethics commission. So you already have the structures. It's basically just the legal mandate and all that. So that will be entrenching the OSP. And then the issue about independence and so on, that has been a fight for so many years, goes away.
So, that's a CDD as well, talking about the independence of the office and what is in the CRC, that's Constitutional Review Committee's report regarding strengthening the office of the Special Prosecutor. So the OSP is not alone in this particular call, is it?
Well, we will go into those recommendations. Yeah, on the face of it, they look like something, but we interrogate them further. Yeah, I see the CDD, HKC Prempers Committee says we should turn the anti-corruption file, the institutions, into an ethics commission. I think since we are now waiting for the President's quote and unquote white paper on the HPC Prempers report, maybe CDD should organize a symposium. Let's debate some of the contents well to understand well, like we say in Ghanaian English, what they are saying, the Ethics Commission, how does it work in Kenya, how does it work in the US, etc. So it's when people have understood it well, then that's when you get a buy-in. And of course, let's also talk about how to, make changes to the laws. You see, the reverse burden, it appears it will do well for us to do Sankofa. In the 60s, we had a reverse burden where if we found you to money beyond your means, other assets beyond your means, etc., it was prima facie corruption. Then you would have to disprove it, etc. So we can go back to that. So we should look at the laws, the other laws on code of conduct against public, code of conduct for public officers, that's declaration of assets and publication of the assets, etc. So we need all of this to be done. When you talk about a code of conduct, yes, the president says the bill was presented to Parliament. But I know, like I've been saying for over 2 weeks now, I've been chasing, but I can't get a copy. And we want to repeat that Parliament must publish the bill in the Gazette so that Ghanaians can buy and read before Parliament deals with it, as required by Article 106. So these are all complex matters that we need to take into cognizance.
Is with the Fire Service Public Affairs Department. He's joining us on the telephone right now. And he has been at the fire scene since it started earlier this evening. He is there to give us some updates on the situation. Can you hear us? Good evening. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, Alfred. Good evening.
Perfect. Now we're seeing videos which Fire Service, made available to us of this fire outbreak at Tulaku, at Ashaiman. We see some of the fire officers there, but what the situation now as we speak?
Oh, so fortunately, the fire is currently finally extinguished. The regional commander himself was there. He was in touch with the chief fire officer all throughout, with our chief fire officer giving directions and helping with operational command, even from her office. And so, with a concerted effort of about 4 fire tenders drawn from various parts of the Tema region, including Ashaiman and then our Tema regional headquarters, the fire situation has been successfully dealt with. Obviously, when there's fire, there's a certain level of damage. When there's fire, there's obviously a certain level of damage, but we made sure that no lives were lost, and we made sure that we were able to keep the damage to quite a minimal. So I would say what we salvaged was more than what got burnt.
I see. We talk about what was salvaged being more than what was burned. Give us an idea of the extent of damage that this fire outbreak caused to this area.
Well, as it's a slum made up of wooden structures, containers, and other makeshift structures. Looking at the fact that they were closely situated together, it made the burning it made the spread quite rapid. Again, with slums like this, you'd expect them to have all these gas cylinders in there. They cook over there The wooden structures and containers were also used for both domestic and commercial purposes. And so wherever we have such activities going on, there's definitely a level of carelessness amongst them. So it was quite a difficult situation, but trust your firefighters to make sure that within a few minutes, the fire was brought under control. And the most important thing for us is being able to minimize damage and protect lives. And I can say that confidently that we did these things successfully.
You say that this was a slum that also had some shops as well selling various items, because that's what we're seeing in the video. It's not just wooden structures, right? We've seen the video some other structures as well. That's these containers that's serving as shops where they sell items. That's what we're told on with information on the ground.
Exactly, and since it's used, these various containers and kiosks were used for both domestic and commercial purposes. And when these domestic and commercial purposes come together, it spells havoc, because you'd have people selling things, you'd have people sleeping in these makeshift structures. When there's light off, they would obviously resort to using candles and other unsafe methods to get light. And obviously, we are still investigating, but in slum areas, you'd find illegal connections being rife. And so a lot of things can start a fire in an area like this.
81 Alex Kinate, thank you. Thank you for this update. 81 Alex Kinate is
okay, abusia OSP and I attending kase odesa and semino etuja ede amaya echese CS so akoshi oma odene nsem etuja ono ankasa hu se sisi ade ne time at the office no numbered eno ehun nsem ene ede brem e beda ma sesamo jepene kokoti za nsem we ede mai aha gossip politics TV so beda ma se